All right, let's get started. For those who did join in or sorry, registered and are not here, you will be getting this recording. So we are just going to go ahead and run through this presentation for everybody. My name is Karuna Khera, and I'm here with Dr. Amita Rao Shah. She is the founder of Social Edge, and I'm the founder of Nourish Healthy Habits. And together we are here to share a little bit about how Brainy Bites came up, what each one of us do, and how we are combining our expertise together to really come up with this really unique offering, a unique program, which I don't think is yet offered anywhere in the way in which
Yeah.
we are offering, right, Amita?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so this is a very unique offering, and we're just excited to share everything with everybody. So at your own time, do hear the recording, listen to it, and if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to either one of us. We will be sharing the recording. We'll be sharing the links on how to register for the programs and our emails. So all the contact information is going to be with y'all. So definitely get in touch. Drop us comments, feedback. Everything is welcome. All right, so let's get started. A little bit, as I said, about myself. My name is Karuna Khera. I am a national board certified health and wellness coach. I am also certified in diabetes prevention, and I'm also certified as a culinary coach. And Nourish Healthy Habit is my passion project that started a few years back. And the key services that Nourish Healthy Habits offers is basically chronic disease prevention. And it's all through turning your kitchens into a huge powerhouse. Wellness powerhouse is what I call them. So that's a little bit about myself. And now I will pass it on to Amita.
yes, hi everyone. So my name's Dr. Amita, and I used to be a teacher for LA Unified School District in third grade. And I love working with kids. And today I teach in higher ed. I teach at San Jose State in their child and adolescent development department. And it's all still, again, related to children and adolescents. And I'm myself, I'm a mom of a teenage boy who's 16. I have a middle schooler who's 11. And I call Social Edge like my third baby. It was born in 2017. And it was just piloted with kids in our neighborhood. A lot of these concepts are all about how to help children with their social skills, to help them with their emotional well-being, to help them with their confidence and their self-esteem, and really getting them to be passionate about something in the world and to focus and um, just the overall, living a well-balanced life. So that's a little bit about me. So let's go ahead and get started with, why is EQ so important? And, sometimes people think like, there's the rational mind and then there's an emotional mind, and you don't want to be emotional. But, what I want to tell you today is the more you learn about your emotions, the better the decisions are that you can actually make in your lives. And so it actually consists of five pillars. There's self-awareness, which is really being aware of who you are. Like, do you have a good understanding of what you like, what, gets you in a really great mood? Do you have a good understanding of what irritates you or, things that bring you down? Do you have a good awareness of how other people perceive you? So this is kind of the stuff we work on with children, because a lot of times I've seen children come in and they don't really aren't able to articulate what they like, what their hobbies are, what their interests are. And so that really impacts then what they will want to do with their lives, because they don't know themselves well enough and they get influenced very easily with other people and what they want to do. So that's the first pillar that we really, really work on. And especially it's so much fun because we work on it with other kids. Like, we establish their social skills, they're learning how to speak to other kids and articulate who they are in the world. So that goes hand in hand with social skills, especially as we talk about our courses and why we offer them. I just want to bring it all together. But self-regulation is also really important. Like, when you are able to regulate your emotions, you are able to then make better decisions about what you want to do. Like, you need to have regulation skills to finish your homework even though you're tired after school. So there are a lot of different reasons, not just like when you're in a negative mood or when you're stressed out, but just regulate throughout the day. Think about your energy level. Think about how pleasant you feel. And
Mhm.
so there's something called a mood meter that I can show you later, but it kind of helps you understand where you are with your moods and what you want to do and what your intentions are for the day. Empathy is also extremely important, being able to, especially again today with social media and children just being really self-involved in themselves and being their
Yeah.
own celebrities. We don't want to, raise narcissistic children. We want them to have meaningful relationships with one another and to really be able to understand what someone else is going through, even if they haven't gone through it themselves, to like really put themselves in someone else's shoes. Is really important to have those authentic relationships where you really do care about what someone else is going through. And then the motivational piece, which is key to doing anything in life. You don't want to just not have an interest in life, school, friendships. You want to be motivated, but you have to figure out what motivates you.
Mhm.
So those are kind of the five pillars of EQ that are in our program that we work on with children. I want to now just sort of talk a little bit about emotions because they are different from feelings. And a lot of times we use them synonymously. And so emotions, the way I like to think about it is it's energy in motion. And so you feel it like in your body. It's something that is a biopsychosocial reaction that's happening. And it's raw emotional data. So it's short-lived. All of a sudden you feel it, but then you're starting to process it with, what's happening around you. And that's where the feelings come from. The mind is what brings out the feelings. The emotions are actually in your body. So I love this chart here because it shows the emotions in your body. The mind has your feelings. So this physiological signal, and this chart kind of explains it really well too. It's something that again, it's a physical state based on something that's just happened to you. Like if you hear a loud noise, you're fearful. Like you're like, oh, that was scary at night. And then all of a sudden your mind starts to think about like, is someone in my house? Like then you're anxious, then you're worried. So that's the feeling part, right? And so we all are going to have different reactions based on what's happened to us in our lives with different things around us. And so feelings are again like that mental association to the reactions. They're caused by the emotion that just happened. And I want to give you a positive example, like when you do really well in a test and you feel joy, and then the feelings of confident, like feeling really proud of yourself, like all of that comes into play. So these mental association and reactions are important, but they can also be hidden. And so hidden means that how do we figure out what is actually happening, right, with us? This is a feelings wheel, and it kind of gets at those initial emotions that we all might feel in our body, like angry or disgust or sadness, fearful. But then again, you're then thinking about the feeling of maybe being anxious, like we said in that example at night, right? Or feeling worried. So as you get more granular, you can really pinpoint what exactly is that uncomfortable feeling I'm having inside my body. Because the more we are able to name it, that's how we can diffuse it and tame it. And so we are teaching our children a lot of different words like rejected, like feeling exposed, feeling courageous, perplexed, right? We want them to know all these words. Another thing that's really great is something called the mood meter. And this is where we were talking just a little bit about how pleasant, let me just pull it up. How pleasant are you feeling? So you can see here on the x-axis, it's like, okay, I'm feeling pleasant today and I have a lot of energy. So that's in the yellow. So for presenters like me and Karuna today, we need to be in the yellow because we need to have that energy level to be able to present. Now, if you're a student in my class, I tell my students, you guys have to be in the green because you don't want to be jumping out of your seats. You want to be able to focus and pay attention. If you have a lot of energy, go for a run before you come to my class, right? So there's actually ways we can shift our moods or based on what we do right before, what we do after. If you're going to a competitive game, it might be great to be in the red because you're trying to get that energy out and compete, right? So the blue is a great place for journaling and reflection. So there's a lot that we can learn and do in our lives when we are able to really think about our emotions. Okay, so this chart kind of really helps you visualize this. There's stimulus outside of us. We are each going to respond to that stimuli in very different ways based on our own personal histories and reactions. Somebody can see the beach and feel really happy and joyful and peaceful there. Somebody else may be really scared of water. Something may have happened in the water for them, and they may have a lot of anxiety around being near water and being on the beach, right? So that emotion is coming from a stimuli. We're filtering that in our minds. We're channeling and choosing how we want to interpret it and what we want to do with that behavior after. So we want to teach our children this meta level of consciousness where you can look and not necessarily react all the time, but be responsive to what's happening around you. And it really helps empower them because then they feel like they're in control of their own lives. They don't feel like things are just happening to them and they don't have any control over it. We're helping build that internal locus of control for them. And how do we do this? Well, I love, again, working with kids, making things really hands-on, fun, engaging. And so when I started thinking through these concepts and piloting them, like emoticons just came to my mind. And this worksheet does really, really well. Like teachers are buying it on Etsy and teachers pay teachers. And it's just one of those things that you are able to really conceptualize. Like, what are we talking about? And so children learn about the smart part of their brain, the light bulb part of their brain. And this is the one that's going to help them make really great decisions, problem solve, keep their goals in mind, right? The amygdala is the one that we want them not to think of it as like something that's not needed because we know that we need our emotional center of our brain to react, especially when we're in danger. So, or when there's emotions like disgust or like you drink spoiled milk and you spit it out right away, things like that. So we want emotions, we want to feel that like, I'm in danger, I need to get out of the situation right now. So it does protect us in those ways. And we also teach them that sometimes it doesn't know the difference. It's not that smart. So it doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. So sometimes when you're feeling like you need to get out of a situation, it's not because you're, about to die or something bad's gonna happen to you. It can just be that you're being asked to speak in front of the class, and all of a sudden your body starts to react that way because it doesn't want to do that thing. And so we want to teach children like that this is an amygdala hijack. Your amygdala has hijacked your prefrontal cortex, which is this light bulb, and the book, which is your hippocampus. And that's where your memories live. And sometimes, again, you can't think through anything because your amygdala has hijacked your brain. And you might blurt out things. If a friend says you're not invited to my party, you might say, I don't like you anyways. And it's your reaction from your amygdala trying to protect you because you're feeling really sad in that moment. Okay. So I wanted to, before I go into the next couple points, I wanted to just have you go through a guided visualization. And this is something where I'd love for you to close your eyes and imagine this situation. You are walking along the beach, watching a beautiful sunset. As you get closer, you notice that the waves are calm and you decide to step in. You feel the cold, refreshing water on your feet. You walk a little bit further into the water. You notice the beautiful colors of the sun being reflected on the water. You decide to go further in for a swim. You feel happy, calm, energized by the cool water. And then all of a sudden, you notice something. All of a sudden, you feel something. Open your eyes. You're face to face with a shark. Okay, what are you doing in this moment? You see a shark in front of you. You were
Running
just
for sure.
running. Okay, so you're in flight. Some people might say they're in fight. They start to defend. They use whatever they have in their hands at their disposal, maybe a surfboard, maybe fishing equipment, whatever they have. They're just like going at it, trying to get at the eyes, the gills is what I've learned you're supposed to do. I guess some people, again, might freeze in the situation. Some people might run away, like
Run
try to go
away,
the other
yeah.
way as soon as you can,
Uh-huh.
right? Like what you said. Okay, so what I want you to think about was what just happened to your body? How did it go from such a relaxed state to this state of just active,
Mhm.
fight or flight mode? And so what you're seeing here is that there's the sympathetic, nervous system, which was where your heart is pounding, you're sweating, you are really trying to defend yourself and survive, right? But there's also the parasympathetic, which is where you feel calm, your body can digest food properly, you're not losing that energy to other parts of your body. You're able to still use that. Your body's working the way it should be and you're feeling like restored and calm. So parasympathetic is what we want to think about. Like, how do we keep our bodies there? Because there's so many times in the day where we're just in fight or flight mode as parents. I can tell you, like, we're just constantly like, gotta get to this, gotta get to that, be on time. And it's not anything that is, going to impact you, like in terms of like being in a dangerous situation, but you feel like, you got to do these things and it is impacting what's happening in your body. It's impacting what's happening in your mind. And so, what is it all about then? Vegas. And I know you're thinking Vegas, like Las Vegas, and it could be because you could have positive experiences there and it could be very relaxing and calm. But, I'm thinking about gambling and maybe it's not as calm. Sometimes you're
Maybe more in the red yellow zone
yeah,
of the mood
exactly.
meter.
But the reason I like to use the analogy of Vegas is because there's this main strip that connects you to all the hotels, and it's kind of like the strip I'm about to talk to you about, this nerve that I'm about to talk to you about, and how it's connected from your brain all the way to your gut, and it's connected to all your major organs. And so we really want to think about how can we activate this vagus nerve. So I want you to think about Vegas as the vagus nerve, which is primarily what your parasympathetic nervous system is made up of, mostly. And it's the longest nerve in your body. It's literally going from your brainstem all the way down to your gut. It is connected to, the lungs, the heart, the abdomen. And that is what we want to start teaching our kids about, like in a fun way. Like I said, we're giving you the backstory here, but the brain to gut connection, because the gut is where 90% of our serotonin receptors are. And that's what helps you stay in a positive mood. It's like, what really helps you with your mood.
Mhm.
And so it also helps your body when you're, resting, digesting food. And there's ways to work on your vagal tone actually. And so people that work on it, are feeling really, really great when it comes to feeling calm and restored. So I wanted one way to work on it is just to smile because you actually have your facial muscles are connected to your vagus nerve. So you can smile, you can open your hands up. So go ahead and just kind of open your hands up to the sky. And I want you to say these things after me. May I be happy?
May I be happy?
May I be healthy?
May I be healthy?
May I be safe?
May I be safe?
May I be loved?
May I be loved?
May I be at peace?
May I be at peace?
And so the one thing your body's constantly looking for is, am I safe? Am I loved? Am I okay? And you want to tell your body that. There's other ways that we're going to teach the kids how to do that, like in kid-friendly ways, lots of different ways where they can remind themselves that they are doing well, they are doing okay, they are safe. And so, like I said, that brain to gut connection, it is that major highway. It is sending messages back and forth. If you are not feeling good, like if you are stressed, it is impacting how you're digesting your food.
Mhm.
And if you're not eating the right food, which Karuna will talk about, it is impacting your focus, your concentration, and what's happening in your brain. And that image there, I just love it because they're hand to hand. It's kind of like me and Karuna hand to hand. One's teaching about the brain, one's teaching about the gut, and we're teaching them like what are the best things to do for your brain, what are the best things to do for your gut. And it's really helping kids live that well-balanced life that we really want them to live. And so I want to just go ahead and hand it off to Karuna to talk a little bit more about how to keep the gut happy.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amita. That was awesome. Yeah, I loved, when you spoke about the emotions and the feeling and you said name it to tame it. I
Yeah,
really love that. And I
yeah.
think that is so important. And the sooner the, kids learn that skill, I think it just only helps them to get much more stronger as they move along life, right? So I think that is just so important. Also about and I think just learning about emotions and feelings and our responses also
Mhm.
helps with emotional eating, which is a big thing, especially in teenagers, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotional eating. There's a lot of, our relationship with food develops through those emotions and feelings. And,
Mhm.
if we are able to help kids identify, self-regulate, make them more self-aware, I think it just helps them to become like, have a more wholesome person in
Yeah.
overall. So I think that's awesome. And that's what we are going to talk about, the gut, like as Dr. Mitha just spoke about the gut and brain connection. We are going to talk about what makes the gut happy and how can we help that nerve, that strip to really flourish, and to really feel happy, right? So yeah, so the foods we choose actually affect our gut, right? And everybody's heard it. Everybody has, it's a buzz these days that gut health is really important. But actually, it's not just a fad, but it is true that our gut health is really important, and what we eat makes a big difference to not only the physical state of our gut, but again, that mental connection, right? So the mind and body connection, when we talk about it, this is exactly that. The more nourished our gut is, the better our mood is, the better we feel, the better we function throughout the day. So it's really, really important. Let's move on to the next one. So, as I said, the key to vitality is that gut microbiome, right? Everybody's heard about it, but think about it like a garden. How in a garden there are different flowers, different plants. The hummingbird comes. There are bees. There are so many different things that actually help to nurture and cultivate a garden, a thriving garden. That's exactly how our gut is as well. It is a collection of a lot of microbiomes, and it's a really complex ecosystem, which helps with everything: hormonal regulation, it helps with our moods, it helps with immunity, it helps with circulation. So it does a lot of work, and if it is doing a lot of work, we need it to feel nourished, and we need all these trillions of good bacterias in our system to continue growing, to feel the difference of good health.
Mhm.
Okay, let's keep moving here. So, as we just discussed, as Dr. Mita just shared about the gut and brain connection, and that access is continuously, it's made up of a lot of cells and tissues, and all of that needs repair, right? So if it needs repair, meaning it needs nourishment, it needs nutrients, and the nutrients come from what we eat. So if we are feeding our gut with good nutrients, there'll be, your cells regenerate faster, and you are keeping that connection going. The minute the system becomes sluggish, we don't feed it well, you will see it in, falling sick, immunity decreasing, really short attention span, mood swings, lack of sleep, and all of those different things. And believe it or not, it's all connected to the gut and what we eat. So it's really, really important to understand that. And as we just discussed this, it is it's a big, big network. And there's just a lot of work going on in there. So we really have to make sure that that gut microbiota is feeling good all the time. Um, okay, so this communication, as I said, it helps with everything, including the neural, hormonal, and the immune mechanism. And we have to be very mindful of how we are feeding it, especially kids, because kids oftentimes are either picky eaters, they like, all kinds of foods. So we want to make sure that they are aware of this so they can make their own decisions. It's not coming from their parents, but it is more self-driven because they are now aware of this connection. They are aware of what I'm putting inside my body and how it's affecting me. So then they make more informed choices.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so again, we want to give it a lot of fiber. We want to give the food, we want to give it good greens. We want to give it a lot of colorful foods, so that it again keeps the energy levels optimal and helps with that vitality. All right, let's move on to our next slide. As I said, the immune system also, so it helps to, strengthen the immune system and fight off infectious diseases, allergies, and things like that. So, really, in short, the gut plays a crucial role in our overall health, both physical as well as mental. So as some of y'all might know or are aware of, the healthy balance of foods is probiotics and prebiotics. And prebiotics are primarily just fruits and vegetables and whole grains. And the probiotic are the ones that actually go and work on that prebiotic foods and create that microbiome in our gut. And those probiotic rich foods are fermented foods. So yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kombucha. In our Indian meals, we have idli and dosa. If y'all are aware of that, those are all fermented foods, which are again great to be included in our meals because they are good for the gut. So definitely something to think about is a balance of your pre and probiotic foods. All right, let's move forward here. And this one is the most important and something that we talk to the kids about in our program is the ultra processed foods because that is really highly consumed in the kids because again, they are colorful. They are extreme flavor enhancers, so they are crunchy, they're salty, they're sweet. And that's what we want to make them understand to limit or to start reducing. It's not, we'll be asking a lot if we say don't have them at all, because again, we are looking for balance, so that's not possible. But we can help them minimize it. And we can do that by making them be more self-aware, making them understand this whole connection of the mind and the body and how what we eat affects our gut. And that in turn affects our moods, our feelings, everything that Dr. Mita just shared. So that's where we are trying to connect both these two aspects together so that the kids can make these informed choices and themselves limit ultra processed foods, sugars, and unhealthy fats. Um, and because of this, Brainy Bites was born. So drum
Yeah.
rolls introducing Brainy Bites, where gut health, brain power, and emotional intelligence meet together. So if you see that there is a connection here, right? So as I just shared, our emotions, feelings lead to behaviors, and most of the times those behaviors and reactions are towards food. And that's when, emotional eating comes in. That's where our relationship with food is there, where a food is good or bad. The foods get associated with guilt. So we want to undo all of that. And we want our children to actually think about food as the right kind of fuel, right? And something that helps them support and thrive throughout. And that is the reason why Brainy Bites was born. We came up with this program offering where we show them that connection between what they eat, how it affects them physically, emotionally, and help them see that connection together. And I will stop here and I will have Dr. Amita share a little bit more about Brainy Bites, and then we will end by sharing how to register for the program.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about where we are today with some of the challenges that children are facing because we know post-pandemic they were exposed to a lot more screens than parents even intended for them to be exposed to. And so the research is showing that, children are not as motivated because again, they have the shorter attention spans due to, being inundated with so much social media and the shorter videos. We're seeing that, a lot of times especially during COVID, they weren't very physically active, which also influenced their mood. So we saw a rising rate in anxiety, mood swings, behavioral issues. They may have lost a lot of their friends because of not being able to be with them during the pandemic. So language skills, social skills, all of that is really at a deficit. We're also seeing kids that are getting sick a lot more often. They're not having a lot of energy because their immune system isn't able to fight off some of the things that, they're exposed to. So We are definitely noticing with our Brainy Bites program because we had our first session last summer, and we saw a really big difference in these kids being, like Karuna was saying, like self-driven, right? Like they were picking the healthier snacks because they started getting exposed to it. We were making like parfaits with yogurt, and we just learned how important, probiotics are. And so really seeing that they enjoyed it. They liked making a parfait with berries and maybe some sweetener. So it was something that, they just didn't realize they had these options and maybe they weren't willing to try it at home. But with all the other kids there, having this be very hands-on and very experimental, like just try as much as you want. It's okay not to finish it. They were able to really start getting the nutrition that they needed and saw that difference, right? In understanding that, the food that they're putting into their bodies is impacting how well they can focus and concentrate and what they are motivated to do, right? Because our emotions play a really big role in if we want to exercise or want to eat a donut. So, we are seeing that. And so Brainy Bites is really just help empowering kids with that knowledge. It's teaching them more about, okay, why are your emotions important? Why is food important? What are your goals in life? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? And the more we can help them with this, they are not just then, just going through the day, like just trying to get through it, but they're really thriving. They're not just surviving, they are thriving and they are having a lot of, they're just building this positive mindset for themselves, positive gut, positive mindset. I don't know if you want to add anything there, Karuna.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. Exactly. And this is what we saw in our camp last year, that it was it was interesting to see a shift when they came the first day and then the last day they were, and every day they came back, their parents shared how they went home and spoke about it. They go back with workbooks. So there's a lot of information in the workbooks that they share. So they get a lot of training, which they kind of take it back home. And the way it's done, the way we conduct the classes is again really hands-on, experimental. So there's no one is wrong. There's no right or wrong, right? So it's just about that them expressing themselves and then they go back and share. So that's what our goal is with Brainy Bites. The big picture is to
Yeah.
help kids understand and really have that knowledge
Mhm.
about food, emotions, and health. It helps, again, to build that emotional intelligence and to thrive. So, yeah, it's definitely something that we've seen a difference in.
Yeah, yeah. And then just to give you a few key points about our program, we do talk a lot about brain science. We talk about emotional intelligence. We make it fun through role playing situations that where they've had a hijack in the past and then
Mhm.
thinking through it. We create, tools to help them through the process of like, what do you do when you have a hijack next time? And here are some tools you can take home so that they can start reinforcing those concepts right away at home, taking maybe some of those things to school so that they can, again, really manage that stress. We teach them about a growth mindset, which goes hand in hand with trying out new foods because you're getting out of your comfort zone and trying new things. And we're teaching them about the power of feeling joy and happiness is through gratitude. We play games like bingo, we play taboo. It's a lot of social games to get them to understand some of these concepts and ideas. We paint, we make slime, talk about our senses. So it's not, I know this today, it was a lot of information for parents, but we wanted to give you the why behind what we're doing. And how we do it is a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. And Karuna can talk a little bit more about the culinary intelligence part of this.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's what we kind of make it fun because that's the whole thing. They come in and they spend their summer time with us, so they it has to be fun. A lot of hands-on learning, so there's a lot. We don't like they don't get to the cooking range to cook, but then we've curated recipes where they just put things together. There's a blindfolding test kind of a game where they just kind of touch and feel something to say what it is. So there's a lot of sensory um, stimulation there. We talk about we connect foods and emotions. So as Dr. Mita said, that we help them see that there is a connection. If I am feeling a certain way, then maybe I feel like eating a candy, or I feel like eating a Sour Patch or something like that, right? So, and then we try to explain them that maybe you could do some other ways in which you could deal with your emotions and not food, right? So there is a lot of smaller connections that we help them see and build. And yeah, it's just amazing to see when the camp ends, all the exciting stuff that we get to hear from parents that they've tried back home.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
One of my favorite things since my daughter was in the class was her reading the nutrition labels and really getting to see, some of they bring in their favorite foods and they get to read it and they get to see like what's in that. And then they start to realize, wow, I had no idea. And then they start to see a bag of carrots or celery and what's in there and they see the
right,
difference.
right.
So it's
Hmm.
really cool to
Yeah,
see
we
all
do a
that.
lot of that.
And what are our offerings for this summer? Well, we are offering Brainy Bites for pre-K this time. We want children to get exposed to all the different tastes and textures earlier on. We want to start teaching them more about their emotions, and we do it with a fun puppet and a lot of circle times and read alouds, and they start to learn about different cool down strategies because emotional regulation really is starting during the toddlerhood years and the pre-K years, where parents say this is a major challenge. Is helping them understand what's going on inside their bodies and inside their minds, but also eating is a challenge. We've heard from a lot of pre-K and kindergarten parents, and so we really do want to help address some of these problems that parents are having in a fun way, right?
Mhm.
For children. And then same, the school age one is the one we did last summer, and we are also extending that to level two children who have done this in the past. We are adding on more concepts, different, healthy meals that they're going to be creating. We're diving deeper into that brain and gut connection. We're giving them leadership opportunities within the course to really build their self-confidence and esteem, and also just reinforce some of those really important concepts and skills and how they're going to engage in some curriculum development as well. And then we have the Thrive in College program for our students that are going to college for the first time. Because again, I work with San Jose State students. I have seen a lot of the challenges that come with trying to live a well-balanced life, but it's like a major stressor leaving home and starting, to live on your own and trying to make friends, trying to stay active, physically dealing with, the syllabus and different professors and different requirements and midterms and things that just move really, really fast. It can become a fight or flight kind of state. And there are definitely motivational strategies that students can use to keep themselves on track that are based on the research. So we want to really help with them understanding some of these research-backed strategies. And then Karina, if you want to talk a little bit about also the nutrition piece for college students.
Absolutely, yes. And this is again a first time unique offering because, freshman 15, if y'all have heard about it, is a thing. A lot of kids tend to either gain a lot of weight or lose a lot of weight because, they are away from the comfort zone, and they just it's everything is new. So as Dr. Mita just pointed out, they are in that flight or fight state most of the time because they're just trying to figure things out. So there's just a lot going on. So the class or the workshop is just going to talk about all of those techniques and also help them understand how they can use smaller tools to watch out their nutrition and keep themselves nourished. So small things, small tips for them, small, we'll show them some equipments and things like that that they can set up in their dorm, recipes that they can make quickly with things that are available in the on campus. Usually, most campuses they have their own little market, so they can go and buy it. So just a lot of practical tips for them so that they can feel much more confident and focus on this new phase in their life, right? Without falling sick or missing home. I mean, they do miss home, but
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm not eating anything, or I'm just eating junk, so things like that. So literally really helping them feel much more in control of this new phase in their life for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this here just kind of talks about, and we will send all the links to everybody about signing up. We are running a special, like a early bird discounted price. So if you sign up by May 5th, if there are siblings who want to enroll, we are offering them a 15% discount as well. And you can head to the website to sign up for the program, or you can just email us, and we will also send along another form that you can fill out and choose your program offering. So yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We're super grateful to have you join us and listen in and learn a little bit about, the brain and the gut. And if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to reach out to us. My email is amitharoyshah@gmail.com.
Yes, and mine is nourishhealthyhabits@gmail.com, and we will send all this out in an email to you. So just watch out for that and reach out to us.
All right. Thank you. Okay, let me just